All right, welcome in everybody. It is conference tournament Saturday with college Gamebreakers. This is the dumb brain edition since I got Samuel Murphy here with me. Always writes his article during football season. Dude's been grinding away. We've been chatting it up, so had to bring him on for episode 45. As you can see, he has some stake in one game, so probably take everything and listen to his advice for most things, except for maybe that one. Take it with a grain of salt. But how you doing on this lovely Saturday morning?
I'm doing all right. Got a big win last night. LSU tried to choke it away, but first SEC tournament win in about 5 years, so that was nice to get that.
Yeah, booing up and going to be a tough one today. That'll be one of the games we definitely get into. But this is something where today's a big day, especially before these games tip off, because you can make some decent value in the NCAA tournament future odds today, just because you don't have the bracket yet. Nothing is set. 2 seasons ago with college football, this is where I bet LSU to at plus 300 to win the Natty. And then when it opened and when they got the 1 seed, it dropped all the way to plus 100. So with no draw, no one looking at the brackets, sure, you're taking a little bit more risk. But today might be the day to lock in one of your last futures. Into the games now, where we'll be talking about the teams that you could be taking the futures on. We're going to stick with the Big Ten first. We got the semis, 1 p.m. tip-off. There is an 11 a.m. tip if you guys want to get down and dirty with UMass Lowell and Hartford, but me and Sam will be sitting that one out. Definitely will be tuning in. But Michigan State, Ohio State, you got a lot of injury concern here, which is the big one, notably for Michigan is Isaiah Livers. I doubt he suits up from what we're reading. He has some Barstool accounts tweeting that he has a broken foot and different things like that. I mean, it just doesn't look like from the injury and him just going completely straight to the locker room. It doesn't look good for him. But they're sitting at -6.5. The over-under is at 144.5. I got no stake in this one here because I don't want to go against an angry Juwan Howard. You saw Turgeon talk shit to him. Howard gets ejected, pumps up the team. What's been said hasn't been confirmed, but if it is to talk about your banners come down, that's an ultimate troll. But who's Turgeon to be saying that? Almost any other coach in the ACC, in the Big Ten, would have some better stake to make that comment than him, because all Turgeon does is lose early or never even make the tourney. But it's sitting at 6.5. I think you have to look the Ohio State side, but Sam, you're talking about the Kyle Young status, so I think that's the biggest question mark for why I'm staying off of Ohio State here.
Yeah, if Kyle Young can play, I mean, you saw what they did to Purdue in the first half yesterday. They jumped out to an 18-point lead. And then kind of after Kyle Young went out, I think they scored like 3 field goals the rest of the game over 15 minutes or so. It was unbearable to watch because I had Ohio State money line, and just watching that lead dribble away, and it was terrible. But they pulled it out in overtime, and I mean this was a 6-point game whenever both teams were healthy in the regular season at Ohio State. And I mean Michigan kind of has a 1 seed wrapped up, it feels like, so I feel like Ohio State might be playing with a little more motivation, and it's a revenge game, so. Unless Juwan Howard gets thrown out again, I don't know that it's going to be another Michigan blowout.
Yeah, I don't think so either. When both players are healthy, you can see some projections give it almost a -7. When they only met this one time this year, the game was basically lined at a pick'em. It was at Ohio State. Maybe Michigan can actually get some wins in this rivalry, get 2 in a row in the basketball court, even though they can't do it on football. But this is where maybe this is a game where I think you bet it live. I don't want to have any stake pregame, just not knowing the full status of Young and Livers. I think there's better value on the board today than this one, but it's obviously must watch. So the game that you and I both have stake in the Big Ten, 3:30, Iowa, Illinois. I mean, Illinois is just a wagon right now. No one wants to get in front of them. Illinois with Kofi and Io, you really don't have to talk them up, but that pairing is going to be dreadful for Iowa today, just because is Iowa going to actually keep playing defense like they have been recently? And yes, their offense did look dreadful against Wisconsin, where they almost won that game yesterday just because Wisconsin sucked more than Iowa did. So that's where you're essentially buying completely low on an Iowa team here, and that's what I'm going to do, taking the 3.5, just because with the 3.5, hoping that maybe you can get an Illinois plus 3.5 live. If you're a middle person, you get that, because I think we see this one come all the way down to the end. Illinois is definitely the team with more momentum, in the better groove. Iowa is I just think of buying low, getting the 3.5. I was late because there was a 4 early, which is even better. But Sam, why do you like Illinois here?
I kind of, for the last few years, and whenever, especially when it gets to tournament time, I've kind of latched on to a Big Ten team. I think my best run with one was whenever Michigan went to the Final Four, just hopping on their wagon and riding it all the way to the Final Four. I mean, it won me a lot of money, so I've been on the Illinois train for about a week now, since I started really getting in tune with college basketball and paying more attention to it. Illinois beating the piss out of Michigan at Michigan, and then just going on the run that they're on now. I can't hop off it. And if I'm going to have action on the game, I might as well take the team that's looking like one of the best teams in the country right now.
Yeah, I'm not. There's like not zero confidence. It's definitely taking the side that just taking points here, because Io put up 23 last night. He was wearing the mask all around his apartment. He's wearing it every day. He's just so used to it at that point. Kofi added in 18 last night. I thought Rutgers could try to make it a close game, but they were just never in it. I just think that shows, or this is a question for you. Does this just show that Indiana's just that bad, that Rutgers basically, because they didn't score a bucket for the final 940, or is Illinois just that much of a wagon that Rutgers did what they had to do? They won their game against a worse team, and then once they played the big boys, they kind of got shut down quick.
No, I think Indiana's just that bad. I mean, I don't know that there's, especially in my lifetime, there hasn't been a coach as bad as Archie for Indiana. And I mean, I don't know who they're going to get next, because he's definitely gone. But Rutgers, nah. I mean, I regretted it instantly not taking Illinois 8.5, because that was a winner from the opening tip. And I was like, oh man, I jumped on -16 in the first half just to try and get some action, and thankfully it hit. But yeah,
I mean, you couldn't get the -8, so you figured, fuck it, I'll go double it up in the first half and take the -16 instead.
It was like, I think I was looking at it live, and it was like -16 first half, -17 game, and I could with DraftKings, it like closes too fast every time you try to do a live bet. And I just kept like putting my unit in and like, come on, just hit. And then it finally got at 16. I think the half closed at 19 or something. So I'll take the win anytime I get it.
Yeah, reference the title for the stream, because I tried to take a little bit more of an approach to it, but I've been in Sam's spot before where you're just like, I can't sit with that bet regret. I need to put something down, because I'd rather have something than nothing, because when you have nothing, you can't win.
I'm Cam Thomas. I'm hoisting everything. Like it's just a shooter's mentality. I'm always shooting.
Yeah. So this spread, you can get it somewhere between 3 to 3.5. Over unders at 155. That's where, like we're gonna get to a higher total soon. But a 155, you almost need like everything to go right. You need this half to finish probably around 70 to 75 to get there. And Illinois put up 90 last night, but we haven't seen any other like very high scoring game in the Lucas Oil. So I don't want to play unders, especially because come foul time at the end, we've seen teams put up 20 points in the final minute because of that. But that 155 seems high.
I mean, I think Illinois can score. I think Illinois is going to score enough. I think the main thing in that total is going to be if Iowa's hitting from outside around Garza. So, I mean, I'm not going to play it, but like you said, I can't take it under like that. So,
yeah, especially when both teams rank in the top 100 of tempo. But I think honestly, Iowa should probably not try to run with Illinois here, because Illinois is just a more athletic team. Iowa's going to have a better game plan, I would believe, if they make them play half court. Sure, you're going to get the pick and roll with Kofi and Io there, but I just think Iowa's more set up. Iowa and Io is a lot of fun to say back to back. So we're done with this game. Let's get into the SEC semis. I wanted to call this the rat line of the day, but there's one in the Big 12, which is more. So I'm just going to call this the fishy line because there's always a ratty line and a fishy line of every day. So the fishy line is Bama sitting at -4.5, over under 139.5. I mean, how is Bama only -4.5 here? It feels like it's a college
I am
football
on the
Saturday.
hook.
Yeah, it feels like it's a college football Saturday where I do this probably more often than not, but it wins where you just load up the book. It's like, up, Bama's playing Missouri today. First half full game. You just have to do it because they're a wagon. So this is exactly what I did here. I'm playing first half and I'm playing full game with Bama, doubling down. I usually just only do first half when I do it, but maybe the pressure from this being the dumb brain. But how the hell is Fulkerson playing today's game?
I don't
have
know.
I don't think there's any chance, especially if he has a concussion, that no college basketball with less than a day's rest that they're going to clear him to play. He was seeing stars, and as bad and as weird, I guess might say, I would, if I was Florida, even though Payne got ejected and it's a dirty play, and I would not advise it, but it was a win scenario for Florida getting Fulkerson out of the game if you lose Payne, because we saw with that offense, even with him out. I mean, Fulkerson's one of the key catalysts. He's their biggest size, so that's kind of not their best size, but Tennessee is the 270th least inconsistent team. So there's less than 75 that are more inconsistent than them. We've seen that the whole year. Just without Fulkerson, I just have to go all in with Bama here.
Yeah, it does feel like a college football Saturday. Like, you loaded up Texas A&M, it's like Bama -8 first half, -17 full game. I mean, they're going to be -24, or they're going to be up 24 at half. But, I mean, with the way Alabama played yesterday, not many teams in the country are going to beat them if they're on like that. And then on top of that, Fulkerson might not play. Tennessee, I don't think they match up well with Bama, even at full strength. Like, Bama's just too fast and can shoot too well from outside to where Tennessee can kind of hang with them. I mean, you saw the offense a little bit yesterday, but I don't think, like you said, they're very inconsistent. So I don't see a scenario where Tennessee's pulling the upset.
Yeah, they did only play once this season. That was all the way back on January 2nd. So you can't really
week.
Yeah, that was Bama's second SEC game because they played Ole Miss the one before. So they ended up winning by 8. The spread was Tennessee was actually favored in that game, surprisingly.
That was before we knew Bama was good.
Yeah, that was I mean, they had a tough non-con, so can't really knock them there where they actually tested themselves outside of conference. But yeah, let's just get Shackelford and Petty, Herb Jones, Bruner. Let's get everyone rolling like they were yesterday, putting up 85. If they put up anywhere near that, sure, we see Tennessee's offense go off a few times, but Bama has a top 5 defense. So there's not many ways that you can convince me into backing Tennessee today.
Yeah, seeing Bama play like that made me feel real good about my plus 465 future for them to win the tournament. So, love it.
All right, so here we go. Put on the headphones maybe because this one's might get a little loud with LSU versus Arkansas. You got the Hogs listed at 3.5 favorites. You got the over-under at 162. And yeah, this is the highest total that we're going to have there today. 162. That means you basically need close to 80 in the first half, which is outrageous. And that's just where, neither of these teams, I guess, they're both all right at defense, but they're not going to be wanting to be playing like this. If you saw the Boise State Nevada game where it just looked like a 2K game, that's exactly what this one's going to look like, where you're just playing on rookie mode. You're just hoisting up shots. Everything's in, nothing but net. So I do think we see a fast-paced back and forth game. So that's kind of where in one of these with a high total, you get the spread at 3.5. I almost just want to bet it live, hope that maybe they get a slow start, lock in the over later, or with the 3.5 and with how many possessions they're going to have, you could potentially get both sides taking points. So I have no strong feels on this one. I'm just going to watch this one because I might be locked into Iowa, Illinois a little bit more. But Sam, what are you thinking for this one?
I mean, you got a duel between two of the best freshman scorers in the country, two probably lottery picks, and Moses Moody and Cam Thomas. I think you saw last night, especially just how important Darius Days is for LSU, because it's been that way all year. If he scores less than 10 points, LSU loses. So I think getting him going and making sure he's staying out of foul trouble, that's going to be the biggest thing for LSU. I mean, both games were kind of blowouts in the series in the regular season, so I would expect it to be kind of close, back and forth all the way. Both teams can score. That was nice of you to say that. LSU had a good defense or decent defense. It's horrible. So, I mean, it's the LSU roller coaster. You don't know what's going to happen. It's like you're in the dark and you don't know which way you're going to turn. So, we'll see. I'm absolutely taking the over just because the dumb brain. I have to, I cannot see 162 and just ignore that. It has to be over. So
I say there's a decent defense. We talked about this in the SEC Tourney preview. They only gave up more than 10 threes 4 times this entire season. So, yeah, they gave up 23 the one game. And, yeah, that's just engraved in your mind, and you just kind of have to forget about that one because since that game, I mean, I can't say LSU's cleaned it up, but they haven't really allowed more than 80. So that's kind of where, sure, their defense isn't great, but your offense can put up easily 80 any night. Just that Arkansas's defense, I mean, it's better. They're on a roll right now. It's just they're vulnerable as well. Who's the better coach in this game, Wade or Musselman?
The American gangster, Wade.
That's where if he wins this one, then yeah, he can definitely take that because he just.
What do you mean he can take it? He's won the most games in the conference since he's joined. So, I mean, I don't know.
Well, the Must Bus hasn't had enough years yet. Neither have Oates. So
they were hired at the same time.
Oh shit, you're right.
Must Bus and Wade were hired at the same time. No, Oates is going to be gone out of the SEC before.
No, Must Bus. This is his second year. This isn't Wade's second year.
Oh, this is only his second year.
Yeah, he was hired last year from Nevada.
I was thinking, it's because Must Bus was. There were rumors around him going to LSU, but anyway, I retract that statement. Yeah, I mean, Will Wade. It's nice to actually have him in March this time around. Like we haven't had that since he's been there with a good team. So it's nice to see. I think the 3-point thing that it's been that way since Wade's been there. I don't know if it's they focus so much on rebounding that they crash the middle so hard that they kind of leave shooters open, and D1 college shooters, they're not going to make all the open looks, but the good ones are going to make enough to hurt you. And I think you saw that last night. I don't remember who it was for Ole Miss, but there's a shooter that probably I think was less than 30% for the year, and he had 24 points. So we handled a desperate Ole Miss team. I think if LSU wins this game, I was checking bracketology this morning because they have been around the 8-9 line for the last month or so. And after last night's win, I think Jerry Palm has him up to a 5 and Lenardi has him at a 7. So just get me out of the 8-9 slot so I don't have to play anybody in the any of the 1 seeds in the second round. That'll just make my weekend. And I think if they get this win, I think they'll be around the 5-6 line, and that would be perfect.
Yeah, and you definitely got some help from the Big East game that happened last night. So, yeah, LSU's definitely trending up after, I guess, not the most convincing end to the season, but they got a chance to get to the finals, and I know you're going to be invested. So you got LSU spread and the over in that one?
Yeah, and sprinkled money line, but don't listen to that. That's just the fan. So,
yeah, I was about to say you can't not have that one if you're going to come up in all this gear. All right, ratty line of the day. Texas is now up to 2.5 over under 144. How the hell is Texas getting any money and moving that line when the public is just all over Oklahoma State, because you saw them look, I guess, not like, taking down Baylor. They looked very confident in that win yesterday, even though it happened in the final few minutes. Cade, you probably have the best all-around player on there, probably going to be the number one pick in the draft. So that's just where, how the hell is this line moving that far? Texas, I can't back them because the last 2 times I did, they broke my heart. I texted my mom about this and said I'm off the Texas train because I had them to win the Natty. They were the team I was, because me and my mom always pick one. I was riding Texas. I said their shot selection sucks. They suck from the free throw line. The offense just gets so stagnant. So that's just where at -2.5, there's zero way I can back that confidently, just because, I do think Texas is probably the all-around better team, but Cade is the best player in this matchup, even though they do have Greg Brown, Andrew Jones on the other side. This one is just a sit back, put my feet up and watch because I got action at the same time. But this is where I am going to try to target. If I get Texas getting points at any part, if I see a 3, I think that's the time to lock it in, because I just don't want to be laying points in this game whatsoever.
Yeah, I am the public. So I'm all over Oklahoma State spread and money line. Whenever it gets to this point of March and you have kind of an even matchup, I always go with the team that has like the better guard, and Cade is just a guy that can take over a game, whether it be distributing or scoring. And I think you saw it yesterday. It also is mind-blowing to me that like Auburn sat out the NCAA or the SEC tournament and sitting out postseason play, and Oklahoma State had a postseason ban handed down, and they're just like playing. Like, shows how little power the NCAA actually has. So, I mean, hey, I wouldn't want to waste this team either. So I don't blame them for like going all out and going through the appeals process and everything. If it eventually comes down, so what? Everyone watched it, except for Louisville. I don't recognize that national championship. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be an awesome game. Texas kind of lucked their way into the finals with Kansas having to exit the Big 12 tournament. So it's going to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, I guess they do have a little bit of rest, which could come and help here. Yeah, because Oklahoma State did have it, but a little bit of rest might help. I mean, they didn't deserve to win that Texas Tech game. So that one definitely broke my heart. So that's just because I was invested. And, Texas just plays games that end on their 3 points. So that's just where, I don't want to be laying points in that scenario.
I'm like, this is just my head, or my dumb brain, that like I'm always on the team that has the momentum, especially in the conference tournaments. Like whenever a team gets hot and goes on these magical runs, like Oklahoma State was going to be in the tournament regardless. So, but seeing them like just go through West Virginia, then Baylor, like that's an impressive run unto itself. But now you got a shot at the championship. I don't see them being stopped.
Yeah, and that's the craziest part about them, where they were easily a fringe bubble team at one point, and even at like on February 8th, we were just like, where do they stand? They're probably a 9, they're a 10, maybe they're the playing game. With this run that they've gone on, and they have the most quad 1 wins, or second most quad 1 wins. Illinois might be first.
I was saying they're up to a 2.
Yeah, they're up to a 2 seed now because this is just where the appeal, it worked out. NCAA was lazy, but I think they were lazy on purpose because they saw how filthy Cade was, and they're just like, why potentially take the eyes off? It wasn't done for him. Like it wasn't. So that's where they're not like hitting the current players. It might have an effect in 1 or 2 seasons when that comes in. But yeah, you're riding the momentum here. It's just that I think this is the one where I just want to play it live, sit back and enjoy, because I got other sweats throughout the day.
Yeah.
All right. So Big East ship, G-Town versus Creighton. Man, on the Big East stream, I picked fucking Seton Hall versus Creighton, so I was feeling real good with that one because I had a Seton Hall future, but that one went crashing and burning because this Georgetown team is on a roll. One, when they played the first game against Marquette practiced outside before the game. You can't do that. screws up your shot. You're practicing on the wrong rims. It was a walkthrough, but they had a walkthrough outside in New York City before their game. So that was
That coach,
100% of the reason.
I didn't even hear about that. That coach needs to be fired immediately.
You can't have an outside practice.
You cannot do that.
No.
Unless you're playing on the aircraft carrier, you can't have an outside practice.
Yep. So that's where my buddies texted me on that one. I told them that Georgetown was the lock in there. They come through it. Hit with the underdog to watch for, where I knew G-Town was going to take down Nova, because Georgetown just kills teams right now that have no guard play. And you saw it last night with Seton Hall. The 3 teams they've matched up with, because Villanova is not healthy, their guard play is just superior to the other ones. And with everyone who's left, Ewing has done a great job just completely changing the mantra and the momentum there. He's going to start bringing in some big recruits because he's proving it now. Sure, it's in the building. I don't want to say that Pat built, but there's been like 5 MSGs throughout the history. So this is the one that Pat did build, because that's when he did go on the runs in the 90s there. So that's just where this Georgetown team, I know you're on that side, because once again, they're the hotter team. Creighton, they've seemed to have bounced back from McDermott being a dickhead or an asshole, whatever you want to call it. And then them, I don't want to say they took down UConn, but that game was a good one to watch back and forth. Man. And that's just where UConn just isn't deep enough. Book night couldn't get going. So that's where you have the matchup of, sure, it's going to sound real sharp saying Zagorowski's going to determine the game, who's the best player on the court. But if Georgetown's like pressure and press can affect him enough and make him not effective like they've done to the prior teams, I just don't see the way it's going there. But this spread's all the way at 8.5. The over-under's at 143. Georgetown's gone to the line 20 times in their past 2 games. So that's just where, are they going to be able to draw those fouls? Creighton's, I think, especially with McDermott there, they're smart enough and they throw different exotic looks. They are a team that loves to change defenses on the fly. I'm just not laying 8.5 in this game, but Creighton, I think, should easily win this one. So if Georgetown does do it, it's going to go into the tourney. There's no other way that Georgetown gets into it. So, Sam, tell me why you like the Hoyas here, because they definitely have, I guess, more motivation, more reason to pull out the dub.
It's the desperation and the momentum. Like, when a team gets hot like this, I mean, and they're laying 8.5, I'm hopping all over it. Also, I was watching the wrap-up show after the UConn game last night, and I saw the interview with Patrick Ewing, and I saw him like getting teary-eyed because he was saying Coach T was looking down on him all and smiling, and I was like, okay, like that's a lock. They're doing it for Coach Thompson. Like, lock it in.
Yeah, his past 2 ones, because I watched his one after Nova, he's electric as a coach. That's kind of where I was shocked when everyone was leaving the program with them last season, because he seems like such a good guy and someone to play for. I just think you get the bad eggs out. McClung, I just think he just didn't want to deal with it anymore. He found a better place to go to. But yeah, I just don't see how Creighton wins it by double digits, but all stats, all analytics does say Creighton rolls this one, but can't mess with the team with motivation here.
We don't do that on the Dumb Brain. We don't do stats and analytics.
Nope. So probably the game that I'm most excited for, because, Sam, I had a moment last night in my gambling career where I was on Colorado State, and second half, I just wrote it off as a loser. And then I didn't root for Keita, but I stopped getting angry anytime he did something sick, because he put up 18 points, 14 boards, and 9 blocks. He hit 9 swats. He has over 200 in his career. The man is just electric on the inside here. My last bet before all this quarantine happened was the Mountain West Championship. Picked Utah State to win. Sam Merrill hit the no, yes buzzer beater against SDSU. We're running it back here. I mean, I got to back Utah State in this one because they convinced me last night. San Diego State has the better offense here, but I think Utah State's defense is a little better. And they just showed where if San Diego State can't get hot from 3 and it forces them to drive, maybe able to be smarter to kick after they drive and not try to put it up against Keita and get it blocked almost 10 times in a game. I was really hoping he got a triple-double with blocks last night, because that would have been sick. But got to roll with the Utah State +2 here because, I mean, maybe it's a little bit of fandom, maybe it's a little bit of recency bias, but yeah, this team, I just don't want to lay points here, even though San Diego State is easily a little bit more talented, definitely at the guard play.
Yeah, I don't know anything. I think I've watched one San Diego State game all year, and then nothing on Utah State. So this will be in like the rotation of like the 6 o'clock slate. Whenever both of the Big East and Big 12 are on commercials, just get it to a game that's going on. So this will be in the rotation.
Yeah, got to do it as on Mountain West Rex. So got to give some love to Joey B here. Talks me into doing a 7:30 a.m. stream on the ACC. I'm like, all right, I'm going to give in if you're going to want to talk it. Then this dude comes in and gives me, it's going to be Georgia Tech versus Florida State in the finals. And he took a future out on both of them. One's at plus 1,000, the other's at like plus 250. So this man, who is a UNC fan, went against his fandom here and nailed the winners. So he's basically secured profit, gets to ultimately just enjoy this game at 8:30 because there's not many other competing games in this time slot. And you got the face shield versus Leonard. And that's just where I just want to lay it hard with Florida State. If Rex's dumb brain had to play, this is the one that's laid off. Definitely once there's a few more in me, Sam, you can definitely find an Action Network alert, probably a Florida State play coming in. But there's no way I'm backing the face shield here. Florida State just has the dudes. They don't run anyone smaller than 6'5". They showed it last night with UNC where they were the hot team. They were one of the momentum teams, and they just shut them down. I picked Florida State to win the ACC all the way back when I was doing college Gamebreakers with Steven. So this is one where I just can't go against the Noles. I do have a future on it. Didn't tweet it out, so I can't recap it in there. But just from a personal standpoint, I'll be backing the Seminoles here.
Yeah, I'll probably – I mean, if I see that Action Network alert, I'm 100% going all in on it too. So, yeah, I mean, Florida State's a fun team to watch. I haven't watched a lot of Georgia Tech this year.
You don't want to.
Miracle push, by the way, last night for UNC. I was very happy with that. That was a savor of the day. So, yeah, I mean, it's the primetime slot. Have to watch it. I'm sure, like Rex, once you get a few in you, like you're just thinking, okay, it's the main slate, main game. Have to have something on this just to get the juices flowing a little bit more. So,
do you remember all the way back to Thanksgiving Eve when you and I both played Georgia State and it went to 4 overtimes against this Georgia Tech team?
Yes.
It was 123 to 120. And after that, then Georgia Tech goes up and loses to Mercer. And then that's where I was just like, oh my God, this team really stinks. And I mean, Jose Alvarado, Moses Wright, and DeVoe, they're just a 3-man squad. They have no depth. Moses Wright is going to have his hands full all day today. It's just Florida State, if they can just shoot somewhat consistent from deep, this is, I think, an easy 10-point win for them here just because they're going to own the inside. If I'm them, you just get Moses Wright into foul trouble. Alvarado is going to be their biggest issue just because is MJ Walker or whoever above 6'5" to 6'7", they're going to put on the 6-foot point guard. I mean, they're athletic, so they'll have the quickness with it. But if Georgia Tech does win, Alvarado's just going Superman in this one. That's the only way I see them pull it out.
So do you think Georgia Tech maybe tries to slow it down? Because 147 seems like a high number for this one.
Well, it's the ACC. It's your ACC over. So you definitely know that the public is betting this one up. But yeah, Georgia Tech plays at the 207th pace overall. So they're one of the slower ones in the ACC. And they know that they cannot get into the running game with FSU, who loves to push it. And it's just where
overs have been good for me, though, this tournament. I can't do it tonight, though.
Let's see after you have a few in you.
I might just bet an under and be miserable the entire time until it cashes.
Yep. So we got 2 more games to run through. Then we'll recap our bets for the day, as the first game does tip off in just a few minutes, but neither of us have action on it. The Conference USA Championship. We're talking about this one because 9 o'clock, there's not many other top key matchups on, Sam. So when you get the double screens, this is the second one you should tune into because this is listed at a pick. Western Kentucky, they had the hot start because they got Bassey, one of the big guys. He's been a little injured, but he's definitely NBA caliber talent there. And North Texas is a team where Western Kentucky had the double bye. North Texas, this is their fourth game in 4 days. And when you're seeing that, and I think North Texas has the better guard play, Western Kentucky has the better bigs. You could definitely, this is one when it's listed at a pick. As long as Western Kentucky doesn't do what Illinois did last night, I think you could get plus points, and that would be the best time to jump in on them. But I'm just locking in because I want to just have some stake on this one because I didn't have any in the night slate, and that's where Western Kentucky. I'm just confident they pull this one out. They didn't look confident down the stretch. Their MO has always been that they blow it late and don't qualify for March. So that's just where I'm just banking on. I guess not the rest factor, but I just think North Texas 4-4 is going to be a little tough. I mean, if Sam, you might like them because they got the momentum here, but I'm just taking the better team here with who I think has the better big men.
I have to actually see the momentum being carried out. So I haven't watched any of the Conference USA tournament. So no, I don't know. I think I might just hop on the coattails with you and ride the WKU money line.
The Hilltoppers. And then the last one we're going to get into is the Pac-12 chip, which is gross. So the Pac-12 they tried to get the refs involved by helping out UCLA over Oregon State. Didn't work. Looks like the refs tried to get USC back in that game last night. I lost it by the hook. That was real fun. But you got Oregon State versus Colorado. And Colorado's, I guess, one of the worst away teams. But since it's neutral, I guess it doesn't matter that much. And Oregon State, I mean, they took down UCLA, take down Oregon. Those are two big boy wins there. The Beavers, good thing it's not football because they suck at that. But with the basketball team,
the entire conference does. So
yeah, that's where I was saying this all the way back. This should be a one-bid conference. It's going to get it's going to get 3 now because USC is going to get in, Oregon's going to get in, and then the winner of this game is probably going to get in. Colorado might even get in at large, and that's too many for this Pac-12. No one separated themselves. JD and I alluded to this on the stream, and that's where you see it with the 3 and the 5 seeds making into the finals where there's not much that separates this pack. I believe this is pretty large. I just want to scroll down so I don't fuck it up. Yeah, 9. So does Colorado win this one by double digits? They have the best player in this one. So that's kind of where McKinley, right? Obviously, you have to, if you're just getting that one, but it's just 10. Seems like too much. I don't know why they let USC back in that game last night and almost blew it. Oregon State, they're the team with momentum right now. And I don't want to say the team of destiny, but both teams play at extremely slow rates. It's going to be a gross Pac-12 after dark game. Colorado should just own the offense here because analytics love this Colorado team. I still haven't understood why. They're sitting at 22-7, 14-6, but some places have them as a top 10 to top 15 team in the nation, and it's just wrong.
Yeah, shout out Pac-12 After Dark. I have not seen a second of the Pac-12 tournament, or shout out Pac-12 Network. Haven't seen a second of this tournament so far. The only way I'm making any sort of play in this game is if I'm down bad and chasing and have a few in me. So,
hey, transparency, that's all we ask for here.
Yeah. But I was a little distracted because we did just get Livers is out indefinitely for Michigan. So if you want to play Ohio State based on that, go ahead and do it. But yeah, Pac-12, it is Pac-12 After Dark. It's not football season though. I don't know if it's going to be a fun game to watch. It seems like it might be ugly, but I don't really have anything from a gambling perspective on it.
Yeah, very ugly. And as of right now, I mean, I think the books already counted him into being out because we've only dropped a half a point so far since then. It still sits at -6 for Michigan, where I just don't want to lay that until I see a little bit. So Could be some live betting today. Could be some second half action. I'll lock them in on tan. I usually don't tweet them out. And when I do, the leans, they usually end up cashing. Or if it doesn't say lean in it, it ends up cashing. If it says lean, it usually loses. So that's where let's recap our plays for the day. You can follow me on the Action Network if you really want to see all my degenerate plays, because I tweet out the ones I'm confident in and the ones that usually don't have any under the influence stakes in it.
It's a dumb brain Saturday. You just got to embrace it. Let it fly.
Well, that's where, I mean, this week, I don't want to say I've been firing, but I usually don't have many 5 to 6 game plays during the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday slate, but I've been letting it roll, having it fun, and essentially this whole week I'm up half a unit. So I'm play 169 is Bama, so I'm feeling real confident about that nice one, where I'm sitting at 88, 78, and 2 for plus 8 units. So I'm letting 5 plays fly today. Going football style, Bama first half at -2.5, Bama full game at -4.5, Iowa plus 3.5, Utah State plus 2, and then Western Kentucky money line at even.
Yeah, so I'm following. I'm on the same thing as you. Bama first half, Bama full game. Ohio State plus 6, Illinois -4. LSU plus 3.5 over 162. That I'm giving that out, but don't like that's just the dumb brain. So don't do it.
The rest aren't the dumb brain
though. Yeah. Oklahoma State plus 1.5, money line plus 120, and Georgetown plus 8. So that'll be my slate for the day.
Yeah, Sam, if I'm going to tell you on one, it's definitely looking like it might be that Georgetown one. We got plus 9 sitting right there. If I get a nice 10, I'm throwing it once I see that 10, because double digits, no way.
Pat and the boys, the Ewing wagon.
Yeah, they're keeping this under 5. But that's going to wrap us up for episode 45 of College Gamebreakers, one of the best Saturdays of the entire year with the conference tournament finals. I just think they should space it out a little bit better, because the night slate's kind of small. You get some nice power matchups early, but it's smart where you get your semis done first, then you get everyone into the ships.
It sucks because the ACC sucks this year, so that's the main reason.
And the Pac-12, yeah. So that's just kind of where you put your 2 worst conferences late, where the Conference USA game's probably going to be the best game of the late slate. This was the Dumb Brain edition because Samuel Murphy's tuned in with me for this one. We'll be back live tomorrow with the Break Room, or I guess you could call our general sports banter, ripping on Tommy podcast, where Sam, I, and Coach, we talk all about all the different sports. We're going to do our selection Sunday live reaction show once it ends, talk about the bracket. I like doing the gut reactions ones where I'm not going to look up any stats, any type of the stuff there. This is all eye test tomorrow. We're sitting at the bar. We'll definitely have had a few already. Talk about Sam's path. Talk about Tommy's Cleveland State's path. I have no stake in this one, so I'm just going to be more objective than anything else. But until then, we got a loaded day. Let's make some money. Sam, you got any sign-off words?
Let's go win some money.
Yeah. Nothing better than that.